right, family, welcome to WrestleMania Night 1 official review, results, all this great conversation. And, as we are wrapping this up, we're trying to, understand everything, grasp everything that we just saw. I feel that, like, this WrestleMania, what it was supposed to deliver, it did. And, we're actually really looking forward for Night 2. So, Paul, your thoughts on this WrestleMania
Yeah,
Night 1?
I mean, we've been saying it. A lot of people have been saying it. The build for this WrestleMania just didn't feel it. They say, "Oh, it's the most stupendous, two-night event ever." Blah blah blah, and like it doesn't really feel like it. And maybe going into it, that's why it, coming out of it, I guess I should say, it felt better. A lot of these matches were good. Both women's championship matches were great. We saw the surprise that everybody knew. Cody Rhodes, he answered the call. Him and Seth Rollins, match of the night by far. And Stone Cold Steve Austin, was he going to wrestle? Wasn't he? That was worthy of a main event, I think, of a main event segment of night one. So, there was a couple of stuff here and there, and of course somebody, they shit the bed and they got hurt in the first match. But we're going to talk about all of it, so
absolutely.
Right
Before we do so, though, thank you so very much, family, for always being with us. I hope that you guys are enjoying the conversations. We want to special say thank you to everybody that's been watching all the videos, conversations, comments that you guys leave us. So thank you so very much. Don't forget to support this video also that we did in the early afternoon. NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver results. Dolph Ziggler retains the NXT Championship. Also, we saw Mandy Rose retaining the NXT Women's Championship. Paul, what else could you tell us about this pay-per-view?
The only thing I'm going to say is you want to hear my thoughts on the pay-per-view. You guys want me to tell you? I'm not going to tell you. Go watch the review. But the one thing I am going to say, it's funny how, remember when Mandy Rose was hooking up with Otis and Ziggler wanted to sneak in there and bang her? And then now they're both champions of NXT.
There was a picture with both of them looking at each other like, so maybe one more time. And the Stone Cold did one more time. Why can they do one more time, right? Yeah, exactly. So, family, let's start, Paul. WrestleMania starts with like this tag team match, and this was like the Usos defending against Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. And like you said, this match actually started out really decent. I feel that like out of any match that they had on the card for night one, this was like the perfect choice just because it's tag team action. I know Vince hates it, but at the same time, it's quick. The Usos always put good matches. Nakamura is good. Boobs gets the crowd excited with Pat McAfee. So I feel that was good up until, what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, and I mean, like the Usos are great, and they were selling for these guys. They respect Nakamura, and they don't want to be in a match, too, a squash match that looks like shit to start WrestleMania. No, they want to be in a good competitive match, and, it was going pretty good. And, Boogs, they really wanted to show him off. I mean, first off, the dude is jacked. I mean, when we saw him before with the long hair, he was playing guitar. He was jacked. Now I feel he's even more so. The dude, he's like a walking, testosterone. It's insane.
Yes.
And, he had one of the Usos up in like a fireman's carry, and the other one came in and jumped, and he caught him. And you think he's gonna do like John Cena, when he had Edge, Big Show, all them, and he had to
like
lift
a double F5.
He had him in that fireman's carry, picked up, and the knee just gave out, and he fell. And when that knee gave out, I thought, okay, I don't think this is a work. And then the ref went and checked on him, and I saw he took his hand, he put it down at the box, at his headset, flicked it to something, which probably was talking to them in the back, like, no, dude, it's a shoot, right. He's done. And then I saw him, he flicked the switch back off. So just a little thing like that, you see, no, this ain't good. And they definitely wrapped it up soon quick, because then Nakamura, he made the tag. And I like how they hit the Uso splash, but Nakamura kicked out. They gave Nakamura a last, little bit. Oh, does he have a chance? No. Then they put him away, but at least they didn't bury him.
They did a 3D, actually.
They call it the 1D.
Yeah.
They hit that, and 1, 2, 3, they retain. Whether that was the ending or not, we hear reports that no, that they were supposed to lose, but I don't know. Maybe not. But the outcome we got is the one we see right here. The Usos, the bloodline retains, and Rick Boogs, they already confirmed later in the night, that he's going to have to get surgery. So we wish a speedy recovery. Whether you like him or not, you don't want to see nobody get hurt.
Exactly. Absolutely, Paul. I have nothing else to say other than it was a torn quadricep. So for that, I already did the research, and they said that it's going to be 4 months, the quickest one. But if you want a full recovery on rehab, all of that is going to be 6 months. So probably the guy's going to be sidelining, and not only him suffers, but Nakamura. Nakamura suffers a lot because that's the duo, even Pat McAfee with like the dances and all of that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
they're gonna have to find something for Shinsuke to do because, like I said, it's gonna be 6 months. Unfortunately, SmackDown has been suffering a lot of injuries. Big E and now Rick Boogs, but like you said, maybe they should have never done that move. You always have good psychology, Paul, and you always tell me when we have our conversations, don't overdo yourself. Don't do moves that are not meaningful or like.
And you know what? This is the thing. They could have practiced that, and then we're gonna move on. We got a lot to talk about. He could have practiced that with the Usos 100 times, but he didn't practice it with the Usos after wrestling for 10-15 minutes.
Yes.
When you're already tired, you're already blown up, your legs might already be exhausted. Like it's different when you're wrestling a match. So
and you had action day yesterday also. You had action because you had SmackDown. So, but the things to consider, family. But let's move to the next one. It's still on SmackDown. Happy Corbin against Drew McIntyre. And probably Drew at his, worst. And not worst because of, like, his ability or anything, but, like, the worst storyline that he's ever been. And, because even when he was heel and everything, he fought Roman Reigns in WrestleMania 35, I believe. So, this is just the worst. But I feel that, like, from here, Drew is going to go up. Here's like, okay, there was nothing else for you, but like tell me quick about this because there's nothing else to say about this match.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that, this feud has been awful, and the only thing I saw of it that gets any kind of like, okay, real heat is when Corbin said something like, what is his mom and his ex-wife have in common? They both left him. Because his mother passed away,
yes.
and his ex-wife obviously like left him. So I mean, that's like a ooh, you don't go there. That's like, that crosses the line. Drew was pissed, and that's like real heat, or like at least heat that like, oh man, you want to see this guy get his ass kicked. But they do that 1 week before the pay-per-view, so it's like the guy looked like a clown before that. But no, I mean, Corbin had a good showing. He hit his finisher, and Drew kicked out. Oh my God, that's the first person to kick out at the end of days.
Yes.
And he earlier kicked out of a deep six. And I mean, you knew this was Drew's match to win, but Corbin, we say it all the time, and we're going to say it again here, at least I will. He's not a bad wrestler.
Nope.
But just they stick him with the shitty gimmick. So, if you just go off wrestling ability, this match was good, but the build-up sucked. And, Drew, I mean, he almost kills Madcap Moss. I wish he would have. No, just kidding. But I mean, he chopped the rope, and then it's like, so we gotta get a new ring rope.
Exactly. So like this is especially for me the overuse of the sword, all of that stuff like that. Every single show he carries that thing. Yes. It should have been just for like the main events, for like things like, for example, like Mania right now. But like anything else aside, what you said is the truth. Corbin is a good wrestler, but again, if you put him in stupid things like this, he's never going to look, interesting. He's never going to look credible. He's never going to look like a real heel. I mean, stuff he says is heelish, but, in the end, Drew McIntyre, I feel that, like, after this, we wrap this up, we move on, and, hopefully good things for him. Maybe now, finally, main event status one more time because he needs it. And I feel that, like, SmackDown is going to benefit also from that. So now, let's switch gears, Paul. Monday Night Raw with, like, Rey Mysterio and Dominic going against amazing Logan Paul. A lot of people praising Logan Paul, just because he had a good showing, and the match was not bad. I mean, the outcome probably.
Well, okay.
bad.
I mean, we saw. I mean, he boxes. I mean, he boxes. Clearly, the dude's in shape. So you're not going to talk shit on him. He's not. You knew he wasn't going to go out there and shit the bed and be a slouch.
Yes.
And the Miz is the Miz, and Rey Mysterio. Legend. We love him. What bad are you going to say about Rey? There is nothing. Yes. And Dominic, they somehow found a way to make Dominic look younger. I haven't watched Raw in a while, but like I feel like with the long hair and how it's shaved on the side, it makes him look like he's even younger than when he debuted, when he just had the short hair.
Yes.
But I mean, Dominic, I think is good too. I don't think he's. I mean, yeah, there's stuff he can improve, and I always think the promo, the fire. But Rey doesn't have that either. Rey's not the
never did.
promo.
Rey never did.
So they're more about exciting. I thought Dominic should have wore a mask too for the longest time, but. No, I mean the match was set up perfect as well. I
like this, Paul. Like the three amigos, how like
he taunts them, and then he does the frog splash too, and he's about to get the pin, but what's his name?
Dominic,
breaks it up right at the last second, and it was good, it was exciting, and it set it up. They hit the double 619 on Logan Paul, but he wasn't the legal guy. It was the Miz, and it was oh my God, no, and it's skull crushing finale. I mean it was boom, boom, boom. The finish was so hot for the baby faces to win, and then these guys won, and it was like a wet. It was like you shit your. It was like a wet fart. Yep,
like that.
and it was. I'm like, this is this is how you book a match on SmackDown to but WrestleMania, really? What did we say last year? Couldn't these guys have the WrestleMania moment, win the tag belts, be legit? Then they get screwed here this WrestleMania.
I mean, like the one thing I can tell you about that is just like, I guess, Ray, because he got the cover of WWE.
Well, you know what? I would have told Ray, unless that is making him more money, and if it is, then he probably doesn't care. But maybe he does, because Ray probably would rather have the moment be like, "Can I have this moment with my son, please?" You know,
I mean, you know, like what I think he's trying to push is something that you've been pushing for years: the match with Dominic, and then just that, and then be done. Because
well, I mean, hey, I'm not trying to push Ray out the door. If Ray will wrestle here for 15 years, I'll watch for 15 more years. But you know, how long are you gonna have him yet?
Yeah.
You know, how long until he says I'm gonna hang it up before I'm old and broken?
Yeah. So, I mean, like the one thing is like, I think he's trying to look for that, but like maybe he's not upset.
The only thing, and then you know after that, then you saw Logan Paul and the Miz, and then he turns on him and everything. So I guess Logan Paul's going to be around for a while. They're going to book this probably for SummerSlam, I would say. You know, stretch this out. So so we're going to have to see this for a while, but whatever. We'll only cover it on pay-per-view.
It is true.
But overall, to just not cover the angle because I don't care, but just talk about the match. Great match, but shitty finish.
Oh yeah, it was a little quick, and like, but I did love, like, again, like the Three Amigos and how he did that, because every freaking body does it. I like when the heel does it, and then you get a lot of heat. You know, it's good. It's really good. Instead of like Dominic and Ray doing it every single time, it's so overly done. Sasha Banks does the same thing. It's like, at least somebody used it for something that it makes sense. Hey, I'm gonna make fun of these people that idolize Eddie Guerrero. So there you go. I like that. So good stuff for Logan Paul. You know, I don't like him. I don't think that like he should be in the game. I don't think that he should be in the WWE. But in this particular moment, he looked good. As good as like we talked about Bad Bunny last year. The Miz, I guess, is trying to do that with celebrities and all of that. So let's move to the next one. This probably was like one of the best matches of the night. Becky Lynch going against Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. I like the entrances. Becky, like with the limo, and then they opened the car. Like she looked like a little bit of Ziggy Stardust, or like David Bowie in the 70s. And
I thought it was like the less hot but still hot older sister of Gigi Dolan coming out.
Yes.
I was like, okay, hey, like. I'll take either one.
Less booty, but
no wonder Rollins has a smile on his face all the time.
Well, no, yeah, we're gonna show you a picture of the cake, but I like this, with like the band, and then they were like doing the Bianca Belair's theme song. But let's get into the match, Paul, and like pretty good. Both girls, I feel that this was way better than Sasha Banks last year with Bianca Belair, and that tells you that this girl. We knew this because we used to do NXT when NXT actually made sense. We saw the potential in Bianca, and she has not delivered. There you go. You wanted that for Seth Rollins? There you go. That's a picture for that. We're going to give you the horn for that too, but tell me a little bit about it, because I did enjoy it, and both of them gave us, I think, a really good show right here. They look good, and Becky finally dropped the title. They put an end to this storyline. So well done.
Yeah, and you said it perfectly. It's like Bianca Belair, she's the future. And you got to think, oh man, like how many times are they going to put this girl over at WrestleMania? But I mean, she deserves it. And the promo even said it. Hey, I beat you at SummerSlam. It don't matter how fast it was. Cry about it. Get to the back of the line, bitch. And she earned her way. She didn't get an opportunity right away. It took her how many months? How long? It took her all the way to get to WrestleMania. And she got that title reign, or that title shot. And she took advantage of it. And this match was fantastic. And you got to give it to Becky Lynch. She's a great, heel. And she sold the story as well, and she sold the match. There's nothing you can say that. Like I said, to me, if it wasn't for the match we're going to talk about in a little bit, which was definitely the match of the night, the two women here, they could have made an argument that they had the match of the night, which I think a lot of people will say.
Up to this point, match of the night. Up to this point, because it was just so good. A lot of counters. She tried the Becky handle slam or the man handle slam, like the cross.
Yeah, and especially like right in the beginning, they teased it like, oh, she's gonna hit it right away, and then then the KOD, and then no, she gets out of it. Yeah,
KOD. The disarmer, like a lot of like counters. Like they went on the outside. Becky in the last second gets in. There's exchanges right there. Bianca ended up doing the KOD. She gets pinned Becky Lynch. We have a brand new Raw Women's Champion, and Bianca is also the dual champion now. She's been on both brands. She deserves it. And for me, I don't know about Rhea Ripley. I know a lot of people love her, but I mean Bianca is just way above. The level.
I'm gonna ask you
all of that.
something.
Yes.
We saw it with the men's championship, or we're going to. We didn't actually see it yet. We know we're not from the future, but do you think maybe at some point we see the women's champions being
unified.
those belts being unified?
I probably, because if they do it on the men's, they probably want to do it on the women's, and that also, like, I guess they will give like the champions the ability to just go to both shows,
and that'll help the roster, and also at the same time it adds star power. So if we have to see 3 hours of Raw, at least we're going to see maybe 3 hours of like most of it being like at least people
like good
kind
stories, and like not weak, like an hour and a half, and then maybe 25 minutes of good. So like that will be good. But one more time, Bianca Belair, there you go, Raw Women's Champion. Paul, we thought that Seth Rollins needed an opponent. The whole storyline very similar. I remember kind of like John Cena with the Undertaker. Hey, I don't know who it is, all of that stuff. Hey,
well, he thought at least he knew who his opponent was. And Rollins didn't. But it's the opposite. Cena was like, I don't know if he's going to show up or not. Rollins was like, I know he's going to show up. I just don't know who he is.
Yes. And it took a while, like the whole build up, like months. It started out with like the Elimination Chamber. Started out like with every single show. He had a match with Owens, with AJ Styles. He wanted to have his moment. And Vince McMahon says you're gonna have an opponent of my choosing. Happens to be Cody Rhodes. We knew about it. Everybody like speculating. There you go. And when we actually have hated on Cody Rhodes, I mean not hated, but we have stated what is the truth. Cody Rhodes on AEW had a lot of things. He acted like a prick sometimes. The booking that he had was not that great. But here in WWE, he looked good. The return seemed really good. There were 2 officials, Paul, that like told McMahon, hey, they said, keep him the way he is. No bullshit with Stardust. No dashing Cody Rhodes. No,
and that's what I want to talk about right when we get into this. Is just the pause. Who is it? Crowd. Cody. Yeah, they were waiting for it, and I was waiting for it because it's Cody. He didn't. I don't know, because AEW was like the Wild West and it was free reign for the most part. If Tony Khan let you do what you wanted to do, is free reign. Cody was just running wild and free, and it wasn't good. I think in WWE they're gonna let him do his thing, but it's also they're gonna kind of keep him on track a little bit. So I think he'll be better here. I went into this liking it too, even though I wasn't the biggest Cody fan.
Yes.
At least the way he was using AEW, he comes out wrestling. Only has one royal family. The music, okay, that, or at least that part of it.
Kingdom. That's the one. Yes.
The crowd, they were loving it, and that's what you said. Don't change him. And as soon as this match starts, he does the cartwheel like Stardust, and then he like no, like that shit's done. And then even Corey Graves said that was him shedding that skin. So they pretty much are saying we're not doing that. None of that bullshit.
And then again, like I said, like the officials, like top guys, told McMahon, because Vince kind of like, oh, let's put him on Stardust again. Don't be bullshit. American Nightmare. Everybody loves him for that, or at least they hate to love him. Oh, they love to hate him. There you go. So the match they gave us absolutely great, long, and one of like, you could say one of like the New Japan matches. Like a lot of drama, a lot of intensity, a lot of effort, and a lot of kickouts for my finishers. Rollins tried to stomp so many times he couldn't hit it. And Cody did the crossroads.
Yes, and the pedigree. Yeah, the pedigree. And how about when he had him up top and he had him in the double underhook, and then he did the double underhook Falcon Arrow from the top.
Beautiful move.
And rolled right through it. I mean, they put themselves, through hell in this match. This is definitely the match of the night by far. And everybody said, look how good Cody is. Cody can have these great matches, and he can. And one of the things Rollins can make you hate him if all you do is watch his promos, and especially now with this Seth freaking Rollins gimmick. But when the bell rings, you could argue there's nobody better in the company.
Seth Rollins is a great wrestler, yeah.
And I mean, this match was definitely the match of the night. I loved it. I mean, the Cody Cutter, NC Saxton, and all them. They don't go, oh, let's change the name of the move. No, it's still the cross.
Cody Cutter.
It's still the Cody Cutter. It's like you literally took him from AEW and put him in WWE.
And that's what you should do. And now that you mentioned that, the first guy to ever make the switch and the move from AEW to WWE happens to be Cody Rhodes. The very first guy.
You know what? And this makes it feel like a Monday Night Wars thing, because think about it. Everybody who WWE released they kept him off TV for how many months?
Yes.
So they weren't popular. Cody was just on TV. His
Yes.
contract, he was having a feud.
Yes.
His contract runs out, and then he leaves, and boom, within a couple weeks he shows up here.
Yeah, and I also like Paul. Like I enjoy like how the 3 crossroads. I enjoy like the Dusty Rhodes.
Yes,
the jabs. The bionic elbow.
And I want to ask you something too. I don't think that they have copyright on Dusty Rhodes. At least
they do.
But you can say, can you say his name? I don't think you can copyright saying somebody's name.
No, they actually no. That I think WWE has some of this stuff.
You rarely hear them mention Dusty Rhodes on AEW. Like here, when they, the crowd was into it in commentary. Oh, he's feeding off the spirit of his father, Dusty Rhodes, and he's doing the punches, and they were into it. That never happened in AEW, at least that I remember.
Well, exactly, because like WWE has the rights for the name and also the merchandise. Because the day before, yesterday they released a lot of merchandise with Dusty Rhodes, and everybody was saying, "Oh, that's a signal that Cody's coming because of the dad." And I think if they're gonna keep him like this, make him a main event, he's gonna be good. And as long as they keep Brandy out of it, probably he will be okay. At some point, he's gonna show up. But for now, we're excited and good comeback. He got a great match. Rollins put him over. Good stuff. I mean, I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
I mean, if you want, I don't know what show he's gonna be on. Maybe I guess
Raw. Monday Night Raw.
And the only thing I would say to do right now, and people might go, "Oh, well, then is this all he's gonna be?" No, but this is how you make it legit. You have him get in another good feud with somebody else. Then at that point, he has a great match against Finn Balor, and he beats Finn Balor, and he becomes a new U.S. champ.
That would be good. Exactly. You keep him, and at some point, make him the WWE champion. Why not? He has now the main event status, and he could.
Or at least give him the match with Roman.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That will be also good at some point.
Because Roman's gonna win tomorrow. Spoiler.
Oh well, yeah. There you go. Paul already gave you that. So let's talk a little bit about 2 seconds on the Hall of Fame. They introduced everybody: Vader, Charmel, they of course Shaq. They did also, the Undertaker. Of course, they did the Steiner brothers. The Undertaker, of course, like the biggest pop, the music and everything.
Yeah, the headliner.
Great speech. Only thing he forgot Mick Foley. A lot of people are asking about it. I'm asking about it because Mick Foley is as important as Triple H, as Shawn Michaels, as Kane. All of them did not give him the match that everybody talks about. Everybody when they actually you don't even know wrestling, the Hell in a Cell. So I don't know if like you said it's like an AEW thing. They didn't allow him to say Mick Foley. But at least, they always introduce the Hall of Famers, a little bit of the Undertaker, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, the speech was good, but definitely too long. I think last night, especially with, all the wrestling we have to watch tonight, tomorrow, and everything else that we've seen this past few days. But, babyface Mark Calloway, definitely, he was super positive, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all. And I mean, hey, you get nervous when you're up there. You forget to mention Mick Foley. Hopefully it wasn't on purpose. I wouldn't think it would be, but it was what it was. The only thing was the corny jokes that he was making, Stephanie McMahon, Shane McMahon, blah, blah, blah. You're my family and all that bullshit, corny jokes. But otherwise, good speech by The Undertaker, obviously well deserved.
Exactly. So move on, Paul. This was supposed to be another one of the great matches of the night. I feel that Bianca and Becky come a little bit upper. They're a little better than this one. But at least Charlotte was able to do 2 things here. Establish herself as the most dominant woman in the women's division so far in WWE. And also Ronda Rousey didn't look bad. Because that she's been off for 2 years of the wrestling. She's been training with Shayna Baszler. We know all of that. But the match did at some points were it was really slow. But despite of that, the outcome was pretty decent because it was done in a heelish way. So at some point, Ronda's going to get that title, but not quite there yet.
Yeah, and that's the problem too, is Charlotte is so good. You could even say Charlotte's better than Bianca, and you could even say she's better than Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
But Ronda isn't better than either of those other 2 women.
Yes.
So that's why, that match turned out, I think, better than this one.
Yes.
And also the finish. The finish of that first match was good. And this match, I had no problem with it except really the finish. I mean, the story was, obviously either she's leaving with the title or she's leaving with Charlotte's arm.
Yes.
And every time she would try to get a submission, they get to the ropes or, Flair would get the figure 4, but Ronda would get out of it, or Ronda would get the arm bar, but then Flair would pick her up and hit a big power bomb to show off her strength. And, or she got the figure 8. Oh, she got out of the figure 8, but nobody ever gets out of the figure 8. Oh my God, you think Ronda's going to do it? And, but eventually she takes the ref, Charles Robinson, they have to put Ric Flair in there for this match. He gets the bump, and, Ronda, she has her in the bar. I know she taps out, but the ref's not there. So she lets go. And I knew something was coming. I knew as soon as she let go and turned her back to Charlotte, the end was coming. But I thought it was going to be she dodges what Charlotte did, which was a big boot, and I thought she was going to pick her up, hit the Piper's Pit or whatever it's called, 1, 2, 3. I thought they won't have Charlotte tap out because that'll be the first time Charlotte ever submit.
Yes.
I'm like, no, I don't think that they want to do that yet. They're going to hold on to that one, which they did, but I thought she was going to get pinned here, but no. Boom, blindside, big boot, hits Ronda, and it was set up kind of slow. I don't blame Ronda for that. I think that was just the way it was. And it is just kind of a crappy finish. Pins are 1, 2, 3. Even the crowd is kind of like, some people cheered. It wasn't dead silent. It wasn't when, what's his name beat Tommaso Ciampa earlier.
Oh, Tony D'Angelo.
Yeah, Tony D'Angelo. It wasn't like crickets. It wasn't like crickets. The crowd was definitely making sound, but.
No, there's a lot of people that love Charlotte. You know that. There's a lot of people that.
Now, and Ronda, hey, maybe this is, I'm not saying it was the wrong move. I think it's kind of good because you can book this feud, or maybe say, you know what, Ronda, how about you get better, get over more, and make the people actually want to see it than just thinking, oh, it's predictable just because it's
yes, Ronda. No, and then that's what I think. That's the best thing that you could describe it in 2 lines. Get better. She needs more, ring time. She's okay, but again, you need somebody that can help you get into those moves. Natalya was good at the beginning, when she had the first run with the Raw Championship. Now she needs it. She needs it back. The build-up for this was god-awful, At least here she retains. Maybe in the WrestleMania Backlash, that's supposed to be the next the pay-per-view. Then's when she gets it back. We'll see. But at least for now, it was a different outcome. Because at least I thought that Charlotte was going to lose it. But at least Andrade is going to be happy. Ric Flair is going to be happy. There you go. Oh, everybody's happy, Paul. So, good stuff. Now, let's talk about the main event that turned out to be better than what we thought. A lot of people say Stone Cold Steve Austin did not sign for a match. He signed only for like a segment with Kevin Owens. It was supposed to be the KO show. But tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, this, the only thing is too, WrestleMania, if you cut out all these entrances or you could put it on double speed, man, the show would be over a lot faster. But eventually Owens makes his way out there. Then it takes Stone Cold, 7 times as long to get out there because he walks out. Then he walks back. Then he gets on the 4-wheeler, drives around, blah, blah, blah. Eventually he gets in the ring. And before that, though, Kevin Owens was running him down. Oh, this is the Kevin Owens show, WrestleMania edition. Texas is bullshit, blah, blah, blah. Makes fun of Stone Cold and everything. He eventually comes out. And Stone Cold looks at him like if looks could kill, Owens would be dead. Owens is like, listen. Don't be a typical Texan. Don't come out here being bullshit. And don't be angry. He's like, you should be like a nice French-Canadian guy like me who has class, like all French Canadians. He's like, just be like me. Be legit. And, let's just talk. And he's like, but, because I know your neck's bullshit and your knees are bullshit and, your whole body's done. You can't fight me. And he's like, I think Kevin Owens says something too, like even, my knee was bothering
my back. I have a bad back.
Yeah, his back.
How about we do,
yeah, because he said, if not, I was going to challenge you to, a no hold bars match. And Stone Cold kind of like, okay. And eventually, if you want to see
the crowd, we hear the crowd.
Yeah, and he's like, if you want to see me, go against Kevin Owens, give me a hell yeah. Of course, the crowd explodes. I didn't hear you. Give me a hell yeah. They give him a hell yeah. Get me a damn ref. Boom, the crowd pops. So of course, we got the match we all wanted, but people didn't know because at first it was, oh, right away, we're getting a match. Then, no, Stone Cold said no match. He said, no match because he was probably pissed that said, why the fuck did you guys leak it? It should have been a pop. So he probably tried to backpedal, but it was too late, but we got the match we all wanted anyway. And, Stone Cold takes over, beating him up, the big punches, gets him in the corner. He starts slowly stomping that mud hole real slow. Then he picks
Very
it up.
nice. I thought it was slow motion. Yeah,
he was milking it. I thought maybe his knees were done, which he didn't want to, but he was milking it. Then he eventually picked up pace. They start brawling to the outside. And
duplexes, he got a lot of Steve Weisers.
He's drinking his Stone Cold beers the whole time. I mean, it was literally
promoting. He's very promoting.
I mean, it was literally like he was brawling, like a street fight. And then Owens, he dodges, sends him into the ring post. They start fighting through the outside again. Big suplex on the outside. They were even fighting through the crowd. I mean, this was right like
he went into like the big
this was right like an Attitude Era match. Fighting through the crowd and everything.
Exactly.
And
they gave it like the good old stuff that Stone Cold could do.
Yeah, and I mean, this was you got to give it to Stone Cold. I mean, like they said, he was beating him up. And they even said,
good. I liked it.
Yeah, they said he's not even breaking a sweat. And he hits him with the stunner, but he kicks out. Of course, Stone Cold wasn't going to get pinned with the stunner.
That would have been the biggest bullshit.
No, but he hits. But what did he hit Owens?
He brought a chair.
Owens
he brought a chair.
Owens had the chair. He went to hit it, and of course, since Owens is crazy, he sold the shit out of this. He whacked that chair into his own head real good. He was like, "I'm done, Stone Cold." The only thing he didn't do was he didn't flip him the double bird before hitting the stunner. I was like, hit the double bird. He doesn't. He just hits the stunner. Of course, 1, 2, 3. He wins. Crowd goes crazy. That's the main event you want to see. That's the way you send the fans home happy. He has the match. He's drinking the beers, whatever. Owens kind of gets up again. Boom, another stunner just for good measure after it's all, it's already over.
Exactly.
But send the crowd home happy. Yep, there we see it again. I mean, it looks almost right like 1998. I can barely tell the difference. I mean, this was great. I mean, I like Stone Cold more than you, so you might not have enjoyed it more as much as I did.
Yes.
But I think you got to just say it was at least that feel-good moment for the fans for WrestleMania.
And the fact that, after 19 years, he went back to Texas. He says, my first match was in Dallas, Texas. How about my last match in Dallas, Texas? One thing. He did have a long match. It was like 10, 15 minutes. He did what he was able to do. Suplexes, the bullet punches. I don't think he even did the Luther Express. But I think we got to see a little bit of the old Stone Cold that we all grew up with.
There was nothing in this match that you watched that you went, besides maybe the slow stomp in the mud hole, which I think was done, and the crowd was counting, so maybe it was done intentionally. But besides that, there was nothing that you really went, ooh, he looks real bullshit.
Exactly. No, you actually look really good. And like I said, and everybody gets this. And this is like the feel-good moment. Everybody
here, throw it back to the camera.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's it. Here we go.
Yeah, there you go. See? Everybody gets it. Everybody gets, that's what, again, do it for the camera. There you go.
For Stone Cold.
Yeah, and everybody. Drink it. Exactly. So, I feel that, WrestleMania was a great first night. We have on the second night that there's even going to be better matches. We have Edge and AJ Styles. It's going to be good. The main, the winner takes all. That's going to be Roman and Brock Lesnar. We have also, Johnny Knoxville with Sami Zayn. Nobody wants to see that. Yeah, they put again. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I think that there's going to be more stories to be told. It's going to be great. Maybe one surprise or two. You never know. But at least this night goes up on a good note. We're going to give it some claps. We're going to give it, a lot of thumbs up. So, family, thank you so very much for being with us. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll have another show. We're going to be talking about night 2, but night 1 goes up into the archives as a good night for wrestling and for WrestleMania. Paul, where can they find us?
Yes, guys, make sure you follow us all of our social media. Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok, and of course right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
And you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...